June 23rd, Mount Lebanon Resiliency Board meeting shall commence. Calling to order, roll call.
Phil Nicius.
Eric Milliron.
Gerald Drobin. Chet Wade.
John Vogel.
Linda Topolowski.
Lynn Lindley.
Grace Robb.
Greg Wharton.
Justin Metz.
Jeff Sigler.
John Rumpold.
We're all here. Citizen comments. We have citizens here?
Yes.
Citizens.
Okay, if you wouldn't mind just coming to the lectern, you won't be on the camera.
Okay.
And then there's 5 minutes,
Okay.
if you so choose to use them all.
Yeah, I don't need an answer now.
Yeah.
Hello, I am Abby Lawler Morris. This is Sam Smith. We just came to kind of sit in. I am a former member of the Environmental Sustainability Board until I think I was on for like 7 years. I was on until 2021, I believe. So we head up a group, if you haven't heard of it, Levo Green. We're the ones who put on Earth Day every year. We're trying to build up the group again. It kind of comes and goes waves. But we've been doing sustainability speaker series events. We've been doing, what other events?
Farmers market?
We've been kind of tabling at some of the farmers markets. We've been meaning to come to a meeting. It's a long time. I've been wanting to come back to a meeting for a long time to see what the Resiliency Board is doing. And we're starting an initiative to hopefully push through a plastic bag ban for Mount Lebanon. So that's something that we'll be talking to you more about. We're in the process of putting something together. And if Sam, do you want to add on?
Yeah, I mean, we just wanted to connect with you all. We've got a really great group right now, a lot of energy, so anything we can help you all with too, we would love to do, like, lean on us. Yeah, we'll be at the farmers market on August 16th. We've done it twice before now, and we've been giving out reusable bags, and that's been a pretty big hit. Working with Carla Clipper to send a note to all the vendors to hopefully encourage them to use more reusable bags. I think we're gonna do a clothing swap too on August 16th, so for back to school. And our 2 sustainability series events are September 25th. We are doing, that's composting with PRC workshop. And we'll be paying for them to come through, and then people can purchase their own composters. And then October 28th, we're doing one at Sunny Hill, about consumerism, and we're hoping to like time that kind of right before the holidays so that we can get creative with gift giving. So yeah, we just wanted to introduce ourselves and also to say we're a resource here, and like Abby mentioned too, I think with the plastic bag ban too, we'd love to talk to you more about that, so.
And I guess since we still have a little time, I'll put on another hat.
Yeah.
My day job, I work in the Department of Sustainability for Allegheny County, and we are embarking on our first ever climate action plan for the county. So if anyone would like to be involved in the public meetings for that, or get any information, keep on the list of just to get updated information. We're in the first stages of kind of doing outreach. We've gone to like 30 different community events, and yeah, we're gonna start to hold like public forums and meetings soon. So you can find me after and grab my card and if you want more information. Or we have a website. If you just go to Allegheny County Climate Action Plan, you should find our updated website.
So great.
Oh, and our website for Levo Green is mountlevogreen.org. So we have a website as well.
Great.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Right. Next is the, I'm assuming no one's online.
Let me double check. We do have one attendee online.
Hi, John.
Mr.
You don't have to say hello if you don't want to. John is the owner of Eden's Market on Alfred Street.
Does he wish to make a comment or not?
If he wants to make a
John, if
comment,
you'd like to make a comment, you can raise your hand, or if you don't have that function, I guess you could allow him to talk and see if he wants to.
you can unmute his mic.
Hey, nice to meet you guys. Nothing to say, just attending my first meeting.
Okay. Fantastic. Well, great to have you, John.
Great, thanks.
All right, next is, comments. Commission liaison report, Jeff.
Excellent. Let's see. Considering things that we've discussed here and how they're moving through, vacancy ordinance is is something that we are working to write at the moment. So staff is pulling together some examples from other places, so working to write that, and so we're gonna hash out the details once that's ready, but it is something that is moving forward for discussion, so that seems great. And I'll keep you posted on that as that develops and what that looks like. We talked about signage and storefronts, design standards, and wanted to push that through much sooner, but it sounds like it's something that probably would be a better fit for you to go through when we redo zoning, and that's coming up here. I mean, I think the RFP has gone out already, so that it would be tough to pull it aside and try to do that separately. But we can still prep for it. I think that we can still try to get out in front of that and maybe have some ideas of what that should look like. But the hope was, since the facade grant, we had provided some money to the partnership, and the partnership put together a facade grant, and it would have been ideal timing to be able to couple new standards, a new ordinance with the facade grant. But it seems like that just won't be the case, but at least we can hopefully say that here's probably what it's gonna look like, or maybe give people some direction there, but those things don't always sync up, sorry. And one of the things I know that the economic or commercial district subcommittee has talked about a bit is the idea of possibly trying to narrow Washington through uptown. I know hopefully that it doesn't come as crazy news to anybody. And that is one of the, Eric might have a better update on it, but it's something that's, we're kind of waiting to hear back from PennDOT on that. Eric, do you have anything?
Yeah, I'll just add, so there was a meeting at PennDOT at their district office in Bridgeville last week or the week before. But if you haven't heard, PennDOT has plans to essentially, it originally was a resurfacing of State Route 19 from the Liberty Tubes all the way down to Painter's Run. And it's broken into two pieces. So the first phase would be Liberty Tubes to McFarland, so primarily impacting Dormont, and we would be subsequent to that. As you may know, we passed a complete streets policy prior when the Economic Development Council was around. Dormont also has a complete streets policy. So when Dormont caught wind that PennDOT was doing this resurfacing project, that's when you want to strike. So a meeting was held, this was going back probably 2 years ago, with Senator Fontana, Dan Miller, commissioners from Mount Lebanon, council folks from Dormont, where we essentially asked them to take a look at our complete streets policy and use this opportunity to make improvements on the street that both communities have expressed an interest in terms of traffic calming. So PennDOT listened to that. I think it helped having our local representatives there with Senator Fontana and Representative Miller. So where it is today, they are in the design phase. So they shared with both communities that first portion of West Liberty. And they are taking into consideration the wants of both communities. So they haven't really come to Mount Lebanon yet with a plan. But when they do, we're at the table, and they've been listening. So there'll be more to come. This was I don't want to say it was high level. They did have actual engineered plans, but there was a lot. They needed to get the input from Dormont and Mount Lebanon, but primarily Dormont. So they're going to fold those comments and feedback into what they've already conjured, and then they're going to come back to see how the communities react to that. The project would be led sometime next year for that first portion. So it's a resurfacing project. So when PennDOT says they're doing a street enhancement, that's just means resurfacing. So this is an opportunity for us to start to incorporate some of the traffic calming measures we've been seeking to help with pedestrian traffic and alternative transportation methods and things like that. So they're at the table, they are listening, but there's a lot more to come. So when it starts to really when the rubber hits the road, pun intended, and Mount Lebanon is, at the table, we'll certainly be keeping you apprised because I think it's important for all of us to provide feedback now, while they're in the planning and the design phase.
Thank you, Eric. Sorry for putting you on the spot. And if it is panic-inducing to anybody, I will say it is something that the commission is absolutely interested in exploring. It reflects our comprehensive plan. It also reflects what the community has been telling us for ages, is that this is a place that people want to feel safer walking, where our commercial districts need less traffic. So I think it is something that we are certainly interested in understanding better and learning to find out if we can do it. South Garage, no real news there, a lot of behind the scenes activations, and there's nothing really to report, but nothing gets discouraging at this point, so it's just a lot of moving parts. And then something that had been brought up in a couple other places that isn't necessarily something the commission's working on, but I thought it'd be of interest to this committee or this advisory board. It's the idea of a Dark Skies initiative. It might be a good place for us to look in and see if that's something that we want to pursue. And then we're approaching budget season, the capital improvement budget and the operating budget. So those are pretty important times, and yeah, just heads up that's where a lot of things happen. So I believe that. Yes.
On the Dark Sky Initiative, because this came up today with Commissioner Flynn's post on LinkedIn of the New York Times article about Pittsburgh. And my understanding was we were already kind of dark sky certified, like in terms of the number of, the amount of light, and that I know Pittsburgh's planning to dim between 11 and 4. We don't do that, or do we?
No, we don't. And I'll just, if you don't mind.
Please. You're much more equipped.
Yeah, so yes and no. So where we have dark sky technology, we bake that into the Vibrant Uptown project. So the lamps that you see out there are dark sky.
Could you explain what dark sky means?
Yeah, absolutely. So dark sky, and this is becoming a much larger issue. Thank goodness, it's been a long time coming, but it has to do with light pollution. So a lot of the municipal standard lights, PennDOT lights, a lot of the sort of public realm lights that you would see were the sodium vapor back in the day, sort of looked like a horror show lighting, that orange glow. We're now going to LED. But historically, the light would bleed into the sky, creating light pollution, which on one level, it's an aesthetic. You can't see the stars at night. You can't, these sorts of things. But probably more importantly, it affects migratory birds. It affects insects. It can actually affect plants. If the lights are too bright, it affects their cycles. So there's been a push now for quite some time to introduce dark sky technology into the public realm and into these sorts of projects. We were at the vanguard of that with the Vibrant Uptown project. Full disclaimer, I'm an amateur astronomer and these sorts of things. So when the opportunity arose to do this, we wanted to take advantage of it. So we're at the edge. Now, where Pittsburgh is really taking it to the next level is they're going citywide with street lights and the dimming and things of that nature. We haven't taken that step yet, but I think to the commissioner's point, that's one of the things that we would like to explore. And if you've noticed, there's been a lot of LED lights introduced to our streetscapes recently. I know I noticed it one morning at 3 a.m. or it was 3 a.m. I thought there was a police officer putting a ticket on my car. It wasn't. It was the new LED lights. They're very bright. And I don't even know if they hit your streets yet or not. And that's all. That's not the municipality. That's Duquesne Light. So now would be a good time to start having a conversation. It's never too late, and see if we can't introduce that type of circumstance like the city of Pittsburgh has. So we're not a designated dark sky community per se, but we have made a big step in the Uptown district with the lights that we have.
Not to get lost on this topic, but it's not like that. It's the problem with Duquesne Light that in doing the LED lights, like the shields that would tend to work with the vapor lights aren't just, they're not encompassing enough to help stop the bleed.
So they are, and the new LED lights are downcast. So the technology for street lights has come a long way. So they are better in terms of light pollution per se. But the downcast light, and if you've experienced the LED lights that Duquesne Light is installing now, they're very bright, which is good for public safety, but they don't have to be Like a football stadium,
Landing airplanes.
yeah, so I think that it would be good to have that conversation. But that's, and I'm glad that Commissioner Siegler and Commissioner Flynn are aware of it.
That's plenty for your, that's, anything else? That covers it.
Just so you know, that I will let you know about the PennDOT project. That's going to be very impactful on a number of levels, because it will be coming through the central business district here. So it's a few years away, so I don't want anybody to panic. I mean, it's not next year, it's going to be, I don't know when it's going to be, but 28, I'm thinking 28.
I skipped over meeting minutes, so yeah, I apologize for that. I think the meeting minutes were circulated by Eric. Will somebody make a motion to approve them?
So approved or something.
Okay.
Second.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. And having that, take care of Economic Business District Committee.
Yes. So we've met and discussed our priorities for the next 12 months. So we have a list. I wouldn't say that it's prioritized yet, but it's a list of ideas that we discussed. We reviewed our comp plan while preparing it, but we haven't fully organized it and haven't prioritized it yet. But essentially, it's a list of ideas for the year. Would like to hear your feedback either now, after the meeting, or offline. So I'll go through the list fairly briefly. So I want to continue with vacancy ordinance, the one that we proposed a few months back. I want to make sure it goes through in a good way. Follow up on Uptown Design Standard and see what we could do when the rezoning happens. Helping execution on Activate Uptown, whatever makes sense there. Road diet in Uptown, so going down the list of everything we discussed today.
Sorry to steal some of you.
No. Everyone's aligned. Everyone's aligned. Yeah, and road diet is very clear, because the more people can walk, the more money they can spend, and businesses enjoy the Uptown. Then a little less aligned, something we haven't talked today. So one item we have is bicycle parking in the garage and near business districts to make it more accessible for all residents. Then exploring parking minimums in business districts, and if there is something we can tweak, reduce friction for businesses, reduce parking minimums potentially. Something we need to study more and understand, and of course then work through it. Then probably the second to last is making it easier for low impact and no impact businesses. There was some feedback that we heard from the community that there is a friction for low impact businesses to get started. We want to follow up and understand what's going on there, something we could help reshape. And then, of course, we'll continue partnering with partnership to see how we could work together better and if there are any shared initiatives there.
Without going too much on all the particulars, by the low impact, no impact businesses, is the idea that we want to have more of those in the community or less of them, just so?
More. Make it, if you're no impact, make it easier for you to get started.
Okay. Because I think that one of the differences, let's say, low impact, no impact would be a low impact if someone was giving, now I don't know offhand what our ordinance says, but if someone's giving piano lessons, then the parents usually come by with the kids and go by for that, and there's a little bit of activity. Or for no impact, if someone's an accountant, or they have a business of working remotely, and people aren't going to visit them. It's either done online or not. And so I can see that being. Usually, people don't get upset at the no impact because they don't know what's going on. But low impact sometimes raises some hackles. So, but great.
This is a good time to have the discussion as we go into the zoning refresh. So.
Is there anything, if we have, do we want to have just even a brief discussion on the points that your committee's raised?
Sure, especially if folks have more ideas to share, something we haven't discussed. Would love to hear your input, your feedback.
Anybody have any ideas of what the committee is proposing or thoughts on that in the economic business realm?
Well, one thing, and we were working with Commissioner Siegler on, is how we move forward our recommendation from earlier in the spring in terms of the vacant building ordinance. And so there's work going forward. I don't know if that's something you can share or not, but that's something that we want to see move forward in a more expedited way. And there are some items to be reviewed or still procured and reviewed in terms of other communities beyond the 4 that we presented for the township solicitor to review. So is there any more to?
Yeah, I'm happy to, so, you know, we as a subcommittee brought it forth, the entire advisory board, you know, put its stamp of approval on it. So that went on to staff, and staff understood that this is something that we were interested in discussing further. And I think there was generally the expressed opinion that there was enough commission support that this would be something that would probably occur had it, you know, if it gets to the point of coming in front of us for a vote. So they are working together right now to, you know, find examples, find an appropriate example, then, you know, tweak those to make it appropriate for here. It's something that once it's ready, I'd still like to bring back and have us go through to make sure that's kind of what we want to see. But it is moving forward, and I think that hopefully not too long, it'll be something that comes in front, that's ready to at least discuss.
And just to clarify, Eric, I know when we first started reviewing this a year ago with the comprehensive plan, there were 3 properties in particular that were presumed to be vacant or, you know, hadn't had development activity for a couple of decades in some cases. And you had said that there was progress on the one across from Pamela's, and that the dentists, because they've got active work going on to develop that those 2 would be excluded. Is that still the case?
It is.
Yeah, the
There's-
property
there's-
across from St. Bernard's was in front of planning commission on Tuesday.
Okay.
So that, you know, it's not that, you know, that appears to be moving forward. So that's good news. And then.
So word got out that this was afoot, so they decided to say.
Exactly.
They didn't want the Resiliency Advisory Board dogs on
We
them.
all know.
Job well done.
Yeah, so mission accomplished. Yeah, no, and I'm just, yes, I mean, there's a lot of activity on both of those particular properties. Unfortunately, I'm not really able to discuss one especially, but there's very good progress, I hope, in both cases, but especially in terms of one that's been in the Uptown District for some time that we all want to see something happen. So, you know, the foundation is working hard, and there's some good progress there, and hopefully we'll be able to explain it more at an appropriate time. And then there's another property too, you know, that was where the White House used to be, the vacant property, where, you know, that there is action being taken on that as well. So there's been numerous conversations with the property owner, the magistrate, and some things happening there that are hopefully going to see some, maybe not a complete remedy, but some improvements. And there are some other things that we're exploring to help that process along, to get that property back in the conditions we all would like to see it.
That reminds me, and my apologies, it reminds me that the vacant property ordinance we're discussing is kind of turning into a maintenance ordinance, because it did dawn on us that the actual fully vacant property is not as much of a concern in going forward. It's like there's probably a lot more that can be done by having some minimum maintenance, by having some that sort of ordinance. So that is actually, my apologies, but that is kind of how this has evolved, and I do think that that's going to be significantly more impactful and give us a lot more tools. So that is how that's coming along. So again, when that is ready, that is something that we will certainly be able to review and discuss.
And you know, the vacant property ordinance, are there any communities here that have it around here?
There are, I believe that we looked at,
Ransom, Newcastle,
yeah,
one other might have been,
Lancaster maybe.
You know, like,
I think that was it, and
Because
then we did one out.
and then there was one in
But
Arkansas.
even like the city
Yeah.
of Washington, PA has one.
Right.
I'll simplify, because I swear to me, someone said they had a vacant property ordinance. Now, because going through my mind, who the heck wrote said that, so.
There are some in the Commonwealth, there are some that are closer to us than others, but generally the communities tend to be more blighted.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it has,
It might be Coriolis, that's why I'm thinking.
And that would make sense, yeah.
that is
Or
evolving a
Beaver
bit, but I
Falls or
think in
something.
a good way. I think in a way that gives us a lot more of a useful tool.
And just so, while we're going through this exercise, if you could share with me that, I mean, we have it in the minutes, but, if you can share that with me, because what I'd like to do is, develop the work plan.
Yes.
Based on that stuff. So I think we'll have some clarity over, from the course of conversation today, but also follow up from this session today.
Yeah, we'll share.
So I just wanted to throw that out there for everyone that, we'll aggregate a lot of this and put it into a document so that it's easier to track and follow.
That makes sense.
Anything else, Carl? No, that's it, thank you. Thank you. But, Historic Preservation Committee update.
Well, we did not meet since Grace just got back from the other side of the world this weekend, and I was gone for 2 weeks in the Four Quarters until this weekend. So we are giving a presentation to the Historical Society tomorrow, and so we did meet to start figuring out what we're going to say. And I will say that in looking at the district and thinking about what you're going to talk about, we realized there's some issues there that I think are worth pursuing in terms of the work plan. In particular, we're not managing the district. For example, we discovered we don't really know how many contributing members we have to our National Register Historic District. We heard a lot of numbers banting about, but none of them are real. So one thing, and there are other issues like that. We can't find original documents on a lot of these things. There was a lot of work and enthusiasm 10 years ago to get this thing in place, but all those people have moved on. And us folks, we don't know, okay, where is the final certification of our National Register District? We have a draft with no signatures that lists 3,362 contributing members, structures, properties, so forth. But we also hear numbers like over 4,400 and 4,000 and all, we have a district now, we have to kind of manage it. So in part, in talking with the Historical Society, that I think is the organization we need to start working with to figure out, okay, how are we going to have volunteers to work with things like check out, okay, does this building still exist? Or has it been modified so it is no longer a contributing member? And there is paperwork, things you are supposed to be doing in those cases, forms to fill out and so forth, as we go along. And we really haven't paid any attention to that in terms of managing the district. So that's going to be, I think, our main priority for the coming year, really, is to, okay, let's get some kind of management plan in and get all of our documents centralized so we know where they are, because the ones that are online are all drafts and things, are incomplete documents. And we're still fairly new to this whole, we weren't around when this thing was created, so that's why we're sort of, hey, we need to figure this out. So that's what
That sounds like a good priority.
that's gonna be the priority for the coming year.
If I could add one thing to that, when Phil and I were meeting yesterday to talk about our little presentation for the Historical Society tomorrow, one of the things I mentioned that I also mentioned to the Residents Academy in January is that in the comprehensive plan surveys that took place in 2022, the statement that was the number 2 most identified with statement for Mount Lebanon residents was that they appreciated the historic character of Mount Lebanon and wanted to preserve it. And I know that it's not a very actionable item in terms of moving parts compared to sustainability or economic development. Certainly, there's not as many in your face things that you can do about it because it's a lot of just legalese rather than actionable steps you can take. But when it affects property values and when it's something that at the core of our community, if that disappeared, if our designation disappeared, or if we weren't a historic community, I think it would really affect people's opinion of it. I think it is important that we do, like Phil said, 10 years ago, there was a huge effort on the Historic Preservation Board to create, have a National Register nomination, create a board in the first place. A lot of documentation that was drawn up, and sort of similarly to the problems that we encountered when we first started this Resiliency Board. Sometimes there's competing agendas, or there's documentation that like you said, we don't know where it is, and it's important, even though we're not an enforceable district, to find that stuff, because it really is a high priority in residents' minds. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'll look into that. I'd be shocked if we don't have, that paperwork somewhere. So I'll consult with Laura, it was Susan Morgan's at the time, but Laura, then I think the baton was passed to her. So we'll get it sorted.
That's right.
But that sounds like a pretty good priority.
Sustainability and Local Ecology Committee.
Well, we have two things tonight. Last meeting, and I've given to you a resolution I proposed for tonight. We had a discussion about some potential recommendations to the township commissioners. Mount Lebanon does have one opportunity for residential property owners to get a credit toward their stormwater management fee, but other communities around us and beyond have greater opportunities and have proven to be a pretty cost-effective means at helping to reduce the amount of stormwater runoff coming from residential properties. So as you see, what I handed out tonight would be a resolution from the board to adopt asking the township commissioners to pursue the following things: a policy on ongoing credits, not just one time, but ongoing credits is what this seems to be best practice. If you are going to install and maintain a rain garden or similar feature, not just a flower bed, there's more to it, as we talked about. This isn't, there's a structure that has to be built and maintained. But if you're willing to do that, it doesn't have to be a huge credit, but it's almost, it's not so much a financial motivation as a feel-good motivation that you're doing something right. But it does have good, positive results. A second effort for credits for property owners who would remove impervious surface. We seem to be a community where everybody's building parking pads, and that's in part because in lots of one-car garages, lots of 2 and 3 and 4-car families, we don't have overnight parking on the street, so people start to pave a lot of things. Or I've told you my example, and I vow that if this ever gets approved, I will not seek credit for any of this. It's not about me, but I have a patio at the back of my home that you could land a plane on. Pickleball court, whatever you want to put on it. It would be nice if some of that were gone and it was planted and it wasn't now running all the stormwater off to the street. So something that would help improve that and promote the idea that in the future, a third one is that, pervious parking, that there should be more ways to not, just pave over everything. Now, none of this is reflected in trying to do anything with the public street, public sidewalks. That's a whole other issue. I think they are going to continue to be paved and people love them. So nothing here says we're promoting that idea. A policy to incentivize cases where, especially outbuildings, detached garages, sheds, whatever, some of them are attached to the piping that takes it right to the street to the storm sewer. There should be some effort to incentivize people not to do that, to disconnect it, to find, reasonable ways to not throw it out into the street. Again, I know that from personal experience. And then finally, and I hate the word direct, but didn't have another word, but I think we can help the communications staff, Laura's team. We do great work, but I think we have skills and expertise that can help them. Part of this is just awareness. Part of this is just making people say, oh, I can do this. So that's what this resolution is, and I would ask tonight that if you so agree, that we adopt it.
What are people's thoughts on this? You are making the proposal that we sure that eventually motion to adopt this and pass this on to the Board of Commissioners. Does anybody have any questions or comments on that? Things they'd like to change differently, things you'd like to add?
I thought it was well vetted.
Yeah. With that in mind,
I think Phil.
I like the idea that it's a carrot, not a stick.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, actually,
Thank you.
that's a good thing.
will someone make a motion that our board recommends, well, our board adopts this resolution and we refer to the
It'll go to the municipal manager, there's through
Municipal
the process that then, yeah, he,
for eventual consideration by the board of commissioners.
Point of order, since it's coming from the committee, do we have to have a motion?
Yes, that would be the
Motion and a
motion.
vote.
Separate motion?
Yes, separate motion.
So moved.
All right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. It is hereby recommended. So thank you very much.
We'll go to the manager tomorrow.
Over to the books. And then, and the other thing we have is just our work plan that I also gave you copies of, and I always, I worry about paper, there's environmental issues, but I also worry about communication, effectively communicating. So our subcommittee has kind of had some discussions via email. This is a rough draft structure, but, if the board is so inclined to follow, the commission is so inclined to follow up with the recommendations from tonight, we believe there'll be some work for us to do to help with that. Not wanting to interfere with staff, but being a resource to staff, obviously. I'll ask Eric, you'll probably get to that in a minute. There's something we're now calling the Hidden Hollow Nature Restoration Project. It's a piece of land that is adjacent to the golf course. Looks like it has been disturbed over time, at least partially, when parking lots were built and other things were done. It's an area of some acreage that would be nice to bring back to a more natural state, help the local environment. So there's an opportunity there that, Eric will get into in more detail. I think if that moves forward, I think that's something we could spend some time on. We've already initiated some discussions with Public Works about this idea of how do we prepare the township streets to accept underground utilities when the time comes. And that's really about putting conduits in when the opportunity comes along. We talked tonight about, Washington Road, and they're gonna tear it up. That's a time we can do something. Same thing. If they start to rebuild streets, it's a good time to put conduit in, but you need to coordinate that with the utility companies. So we'll be working on that more. Tree canopy, and that's like the number one thing in our section in the comprehensive plan. If there's anything more sensitive in Mount Lebanon than Uptown and the traffic and Washington Road, it's tree canopy. So right now what we have is a very rough, we don't really outline exactly where that's going, so I don't want anybody who's watching tonight or hears this says, oh, we have a plan to do X. No, but we know there are opportunities to manage it better. We're at a time where many of the trees are reaching the end of their useful life, their natural lives, and every morning I seem to wake up to another chipper, unfortunately. But there are ways to do that. The township puts a lot of money into it. It affects sidewalks, which is a safety issue, which is one of the top things in the comprehensive plan. How do we address that? Is it the type of trees, whatever? I don't know. We don't know. But anyway, we think we'll be spending some time on that. And finally, looking at some ordinances or policies or education campaigns, one on herbicides, pesticides, fertilizers. Again, they're well used in our community, but maybe there are ways to, if not force people to do things, educate and encourage them to do things that are a little more kind to our local environment and to our flora and fauna. And at the same time, also look at this whole invasive species issue. How do we promote that? And again, I don't know that we can legislate it so much as maybe promote it more. Again, working with Laura's team to get people aware. I fight the English ivy battle on a regular basis, as many people do. So, I think those are kind of our list for now, but it could change. Our committee is actually pretty new, and we haven't had a lot of time to talk about it, but it's a good starting point for us. So any thoughts or
Chet,
additions?
do you know, since there's a lot of use of lawn services in Mount Lebanon, do you know if any of them are kind of taking the lead on non-toxic?
Some of them promote it, and
Herbicides.
I have looked at them. I actually went to just started doing it myself because I wasn't 100% happy with their products. But there are some who do promote more natural, less chemical-based. You have to be very careful when you read the materials about what's, quote, natural and safe and whatever, because there are lots of definitions about things and lots of words that get used. So there are some that promote, less challenging types of chemical treatment. But I think it's really understanding what is the best and the safest. It's an education challenge, I think, in a lot of ways. I think most people want to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And although some people really don't like weeds, I get it. But I think there are ways we can make it, and this again runs off into the storm sewers and off to wherever, and it never gets filtered out. So I think there's a lot of work we can do there.
Well, it's also insect genocide,
Right.
Right.
Well, it's a balancing act, obviously. We can't turn over our homes to every insect that wants to come in, but we can do better.
So anyway, those are our first thoughts, and we're open to more ideas, and it will all.
Speaking of more ideas, and I'd already passed this on to John Lane, but somebody had reached out to myself and Commissioner Flynn about gas-powered lawn tools. And saying that he, yeah, a touchy subject, but one with a lot of strong opinions. And we'd suggested, hey, that would actually, I think that's something that would be a great deal of interest to the Resiliency Advisory Board, particularly the subcommittee. And so this individual was going out of the country for a bit, but we suggested, hey, when you get back, message us, and we'd love to. He'd done a lot of research, and I thought that would be something you all would appreciate to hear from or have him come in and talk.
Yeah, I would like to hear about it. I mean, I made my switch, and it's a lot quieter.
Yes.
I mean, what are the, I say the concrete proposal, I mean, everybody wants to, we're talking about lawnmowers, I think a lot of people see the value of the batteries or electrics, things like that.
Is it the gas or the noise that's the driving?
I believe leaf blowers are kind of the main culprit, which are exceedingly loud, but also, environmentally pretty damaging.
Pretty nasty. All right, we'll put that on the list, and then, of course, tonight we did hear about plastic bags.
Yeah.
So, talking to you folks about that as well.
Chad, very, very good list. Thank you. Good job. So I have a couple comments. So for the natives, I think there could be more reasons why to promote natives.
Oh, there are lots,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously,
We could expand on it.
yeah, I mean, this is just like, okay, here's some thoughts, on where we might want to head, but not, it's less than an inch deep.
Yeah. Then compost and trash. I think we are behind the places where we lived the last 2 decades in terms of composting practices. Something to explore. Recycling, yes, another one. And trash, and how do we incentivize less trash output? I've never seen this much trash in my life, to be honest with you, anywhere I live. Just we take care of it, the city takes care of it, and subcontractor, but just the amount that's coming from the houses is incredible. So something to explore how we help reduce it.
Yeah, there are some mountains some days.
Yeah.
Okay, those are good ideas too, thank you. But I like that, my leaning is toward incentivizing rather
Yeah.
than trying to police it.
Of course.
I love both.
Okay.
It's always best to start with incentive, but I think that punitive measures sometimes have.
Well,
There's a lot of place for it.
We'll leave that to the Board of Commissioners.
Great.
We'll play.
It's not a popular opinion, but sometimes necessary.
But, and then for other committee members, I don't know if I missed anything, guys.
And I have some additional information on the Hidden Hollow concept, so.
You too.
Oh, okay.
Explain that.
Sure. And I'll share this with you all, but where we're talking about is at the golf course. It does not affect gameplay at all. So if you're familiar with where
Unless you're really bad.
unless you're really bad, in that case, you probably should pick up pickleball.
Yeah,
So if you're familiar with where the community gardens are, and if you're not, I encourage you to go visit them. But when you go, look out over the golf course. There's essentially an existing meadow. There is a stream that runs towards the bottom and a wood line. And one of the tasks in the comp plan is to expand tree canopy, and that can get a little difficult in this town. We're pretty built out, so it's hard to find opportunities to really take action on expanding tree canopy. Except at this, and I love the name, Hidden Hollow area. So I met with a couple of friends and colleagues that are landscape architects, and we walked the grounds, and we've developed a high-level conceptual plan already that you guys can take a look at. So I'm not going to say a whole lot on it because I'd like you to see it because a picture's worth 1,000 words, but it's a very illustrative plan that paints the picture of really what could be there. So it's expanding tree canopy. It's also offering residents an opportunity. If you use the gardens, there's really nothing else to do there. So if you want to bring your kids or you want to bring a spouse or a partner or whatever the case might be, and that person doesn't want to garden and they don't golf, they ain't got nothing to do. So there's an opportunity there to add a hammock node. There's an opportunity there to add some trails. There's opportunities there, yes, again, to expand tree canopy, to expand the prairie for songbirds. If you're ever there, there's a lot of red-winged blackbirds and bluebirds really appreciate that sort of habitat. So there's a real opportunity there to strike a lot of notes, and it's not that big of a lift with essentially zero impact to the golf course. It really just adds an enhanced amenity to the district. In addition to all of that, Western Pennsylvania Conservancy right now has a very fantastic program to acquire trees and things of that nature. And full disclosure, I sit on Tree Pittsburgh's board, so there's that opportunity as well. So there's a lot of opportunities there to actualize something, but we need to take a look at it. The board would have to express an interest in that. And of course, there's conversations we need to have with our friends, in the rec department and things like that. So this certainly isn't a done deal, but it certainly helps if you have a plan at least to react to. And I had some friends that were willing to take the time to develop some conceptual renderings. So I'll share that with everyone and then, get your feedback, what you think of it, if you think it's silly or if it's worth exploring. But when you look at the plans, I would highly recommend that you take an opportunity and visit the site and look at it with that lens, what it could be and not just what it is. Because right now what it is it's a poison hemlock infested, poison ivy. It's really not its best self. So there's an opportunity to change that.
Where is it actually? I see the map over there, but is it like behind is it
It's
the
below
Myrtle
the
School?
lower garden, so yeah, if you know where the elementary school is, and then you come up towards like
Toward the golf course?
yeah, towards the golf course.
And there's
There's a parking lot, and there's a little path, the upper garden plot, and I have a plot in the lower
Oh,
garden.
okay.
Yeah, so I know this exact place. And it does get the view is incredible with the golf course and that whole area there. But it sort of dips down into not really a valley, but valley-ish. And when it grows up, the meadow grasses and everything, it is really, really beautiful, so.
It is, it's very peaceful, and it's one of the few places in Mount Lebanon, at least that I found, that actually does feel peaceful. I mean, there are times you could be in Bird Park, it could be peaceful, but there could also be a rugby match or a soccer game or something. So it's one of the few places where there's an opportunity to really do something. So I would just say, take a look at the plan, and then we can talk about it more if it's something you think is worthwhile.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, I think.
Chet has seen it, so
Yeah,
full
I think-
disclosure, I shared with Chet because
And I think it's an opportunity to create a very quiet like place, a contemplative kind of place. Because, like I'm in Bird Park a lot and it's a great place, but there's like lots of foot traffic all the time, lots of people in and out, and which is great, it's being used, wonderful. This is a kind of place, not naturally would draw lots of traffic. It would be kind of quality traffic in terms of, and nothing against the people, but I mean, a place you go and you could read a book quietly, because it's not an area where there's much car traffic around it, the way it sits down in the valley, you don't hear the golfers, you don't interact with them at all. It is a place where that's what I call hidden, it is quite hidden. If you don't know how to find it, if you're not a gardener, very few other people know that it's there. But it's it has a lot of potential for a place to make a very quiet, peaceful, nice place. You need a break, you can go there.
Yeah, it's a path, and thank you for bringing that up. It's a path, because I don't want anybody that might be watching at home to think that we're turning this into Yosemite or something. I mean, it's really a passive type experience. It's really more for our friends and neighbors that have fur and feathers. It's really, but it can also be used by bipedal animals. But, it's, when you see the plan, it'll be very clear, what the concept is. And if folks are interested in it, then what I would do is it's Ron Block and Elaine Kramer, if anybody in the room knows who those folks are. So they were very involved in the Parks Advisory Board at one point, and then they were involved with not Lebo Green, but Nature Conservancy and things like that. So both are registered landscape architects and residents and know the community, and were very thoughtful and mindful and deliberate when they were looking at this and understanding that it is a golf course. It's not a park. And that's really not what, at least that's not my premise, is turning this into a park. It's really just about expanding tree canopy and making better habitat, and yes, making a better experience for anyone that might want to just read a book or take a walk or join their partner while they garden and stroll around,
Meditate or whatever.
meditate, yes.
So, yeah, this is quite, it wouldn't interfere with the golf course at all. I was on the course today and paid attention to that.
It's way, way,
There's
way.
no, yeah, so no impact on the course at all.
Any questions about that? I'll show the plan and you can hit me up.
Would it be like like, I know like the Nature Conservancy taking care of like Bird Park and you doing stuff like there, like, would it be the same type of thing for like maintenance there? Like,
Well, it's intentionally designed for little to no maintenance, so it's really meant to be a passive, it's really about expanding tree canopy, so it's allowing, it's introducing native species, native trees, native wildflowers, native plants, just call it that. And letting nature do its thing. Now, there is some notion of some trails or courses and things like that, but it would be asking very little in terms of maintenance, tree maintenance, these sorts of things. It's planting the seeds literally to expand the canopy and improve the area. And we'll see where it goes. And in terms of installing these things, I think there would be an appetite to help. People love to plant trees. I've experienced that. People don't mind taking a Saturday morning to punch in a bunch of trees. They feel good about it. It's one of those things you see what you did and you can go back and see it a year or two and these sorts of things. So, and there's resources we could avail ourselves, again, both with the Western Pennsylvania Conservancy, our own local chapters of folks that are inclined to be interested in these things. So, there's that's the type, those are the details that need to be sorted out. But at least my vision of it is this wouldn't be something where Public Works or anyone would have to come and do massive maintenance, maybe mow once or twice, which they already do. If you go to the community gardens, they already mow a path down there.
That's it for us.
Let's see, the staff liaison report. Probably already getting into that.
We're there already.
Okay.
Well, it's also 6:53, so I'll be succinct. So a lot of different things. I'll start with the fun stuff. So this Friday, weather hopefully will cooperate. Doesn't look like it will, but I'm going to ignore the forecast. We're going to hope for the best. So this is our partnership with WYP. It's the final Friday is this Friday. So we partner with WYP, so they've been promoting it. If you listen to YP, maybe you've heard. So we have 3 bands, meeting of important people, townspeople, and Loren. Some folk, and then some standard rock, meeting of important people. The bass player used to be a resident here. So that's this Friday, that's 6 to 9. So come up, check it out, should be good. The other big thing that we have going on is the partnership with the partnership. So if you've been up here in the evening, you may have noticed some odd visual broadcasts on the sidewalk. They're not odd, but some interesting. Yes, so this is the Color Walk Public Art Project, which is a partnership with Mount Lebanon Partnership, the municipality, and the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania provided a grant to offset the cost. So everything's pretty much just this little, I don't know how many people are watching at home, but it's pretty much ready to go. So there's going to be an unveiling at 5 o'clock. Where there's gonna be some words from the partnership. If I'm available, I expect to be making a few words myself, just launching it. So everything is dialed in, ready to go. We've had our electrician out here at 5 in the morning with folks from the partnership to make sure that it's what we want it to be. These are custom designed gobo images, so it's flora and fauna. So it's really meant to represent the different seasons. So we're kicking it off here in midsummer. We'll see where that goes. So the intent is that it can be changed out, and so there's always something fresh and something new. And it's no impact, because guess what? It's just light. So, and it's downcast, so it's dark sky. So that's all good. So we're pretty excited about that. I don't know if Linda, who's on the partnership board, wants to say anything more, but
Yeah, sure. So we are unique in Western Pennsylvania for this, not that you haven't seen light projected onto buildings or onto sidewalks, but the way that this has been designed, custom designed by members of the partnership board who are actual artists, et cetera. But they're already on now, and they go on at dark every night if you happen to be uptown. But if you go to the partnership website or Instagram or Facebook or now the municipality, there are samples on there. They're actually very beautiful and they're full motion. Kids love to dance around in them, but it's for adults too. But they're in 13 locations uptown. And Eric's team has been heroic in helping to get this all together. There's a lot of testing that was involved in the pool climbs, and then a couple of the discs broke and had to be replaced at 4 o'clock yesterday morning. And so if you can come out on Friday at 5 o'clock, right in front here, there's going to be the official turn on, even though it's still light out, but otherwise, anytime after dark.
See you at 5 o'clock.
yeah, so please come up. There's a lot going on Friday, and those lights will be on every evening from now into perpetuity, as long as the mountains stand and the rivers flow. I don't know if it'll be that long, but it'll be a long time. So we anticipate having the Color Walk program up for a number of time, and it's really, I think it needs to be said, we've talked about doing public art in Uptown for years, years. So it's nice to finally say, here's something, and we're taking it another step further with the Activate Uptown plan, is to use the same technology to help enliven the T-portal, the stairway, over there by East End Brewing. So we're going to be adding even more on, and then I think another phase is to potentially use some of these broadcasts on some buildings to create some mosaic type images and things like that. So the sky's the limit. Trying to think what else. So we did a presentation to the commission on the Activate Uptown initiative. I think it was well received. Nobody threw anything at me or booed or hissed. Not they waited.
They just talked behind your back.
That was executive session. There was a lot of hissing and booing.
There was a lot of support, and Commissioner Flynn went as far as to say, like, let's figure out how to fund this. Everybody is very much on board, and there's a lot of interest in trying to make it a reality.
Yeah, so we're underway. So we have opinions of cost on the project, the various facets of it, of which there are many moving parts and many phases. This is going to just happen like that. But baked into the CIP budget is a phased plan. So basically starting at Clock Tower Plaza and the portal, and then slowly moving along. Because again, if you recall the presentation, there was the big idea, and there's a lot to that. And there's a lot of other moving parts related to that. Again, I mentioned that PennDOT project coming through with the South Garage and many other things. So we can still keep that moving, but also be agile enough to know when to pull the trigger on an actual implementation, so that we're mindful of keeping the district functioning. But I think we should, depending on how things go, start to see elements of that plan start to happen within, by this time next year. Things will be done and moving on to the next phase and things like that. So I think that presentation went well. That's where I think this board can come in when we're in the budget process. That's obviously where the rubber hits the road. So if you support the aspects of the plan that are being proposed in the short term, that would be a good time. And if you can't make a meeting, an email to your commissioner or to the commissioners would be welcome, of course. And everything we're proposing is, at least in the short term, is low impact. So I don't want to give anybody at home or any businesses or property owners fear that, we're bringing back Vibrant Uptown because it was such a good time. This is a completely different thing, and it's phased in an appropriate manner, and many of the things proposed have minimal to no impact. It's just installing sunshades and go-go projectors and things like that.
Eric, for budget, would it make sense for this, for this, what do we call advisory board, or our advisory board, to extend our support for the commission?
Absolutely, we're working on the CIP budget now. Greg's been fantastic with that, aggregating the entire municipal capital improvement plan. So, we're in that process right now. The budget schedule, I think, is out in terms of when those things hit, but you can always send.
I'm just thinking not just personal emails from us individually, but as a group, as advisory board, to extend our support. It's the whole.
100%, yeah.
So maybe once you're ready, vote.
Yeah, I think maybe even at the next.
Yeah, the CIP goes public August 1st every year. So it gets posted online and you can go ahead and feel free to read it. And then it gets presented to the planning board in the meeting in August. And then it officially gets adopted by the commissioners in December. But there's a long process. It kind of predates or precedes the budget itself. But yeah, it's a lot of planning projects. It's sort of a wish list in some cases. It's to put things on it's a 5-year plan, so it puts things on radars for the commissioners to see what type of funding. And like Eric mentioned, it's phasing. It's spectacular for phasing. So if any phase project, CIP is where it should be. So, but yeah, that'll go out August 1st. And then, so if you feel like reading through the CIP next weekend, have at it.
I did it last time, so maybe we vote next time.
Yeah.
Projects that are relevant to us.
Yeah, it'll be a live document and everyone will have had the chance to take a look at it. And it's on the website. And we could send a link too, just to make it easier for folks here. I mean, our website is very easy to navigate, but, it always helps if you just have a link.
Thank you.
That's all I have, unless somebody has a question. I don't know if Greg has any updates on anything, but.
And does our student representative have any updates on anything?
So school's over, so I have nothing really important to say, other than I just want to thank all you guys for letting me sit on this board, for allowing me to be part of discussions on stuff, for showing me how local government works, and for being able to say yes to everything. Yeah, I gotta say, one of my favorite parts was actually voting on stuff like we just did, 20 minutes ago. So that was real nice to actually be a part of something like that. And also, just one more thank you for allowing a non-Mount Lebanon High School student, even though I don't go to the high school, I go to Seton, right? But allowing a non-Mount Lebanon high school student to actually be part of this board, and I hope I represented all of us well. So I hope you guys,
And consider us a resource as you go through your college career. I mean, if you have questions, we're here to help.
Call or text Eric at any time.
3 a.m.
Love any urban planning classes or things like that? Yeah, that'll be,
What is your major?
I'm gonna try to major in political science and international relations.
Good stuff.
So,
Yeah, it's been a pleasure having you.
You can always come back and be a part of the public.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. You can tune in anytime from getting.
show up live too.
We're gonna miss you.
Yeah, very much.
Thank you, guys. That's it.
Let's see, any new business? Any old business? Old business, discuss yearly work plan development.
We did, I just wanted to keep that on there, but what I'm gonna do is, we'll look at the minutes and then we'll pull together at least some kind of a working document that we can bring back next month, and before next month we can share it, and then, use that kind of as what we're working off of, so we're all on the same page and we know what each of the three subcommittees is working on, so. But yeah, there's a lot of great stuff in here, so. Thank you all for taking the time to pull together your work plans.
Any new business? None? In that case, announcement next meeting. Next meeting will be, the board will be Wednesday, August 27th, 2025 at 6 p.m. All municipal meetings have a Zoom webinar component to enable residents to attend meetings virtually. With that in mind, motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.